And we're back with some more Timberborn. And our little beavers are doing wonderfully. They have no worries from bad water. They have lots of clean water keeping them going. And we've got a nice big storage tank full of water that will be expanded out in the very near future with lots of explosives. However, we need to come up with a long-term plan. Like I was thinking maybe we could come down here, put down farms, all sorts of stuff, but I need to know more about the mechanics of the game. So today's going to be less about gameplay and more about testing the mechanics so we can figure out what we want to build. I don't want to just end up building something and then have to rip it down to build it, replace it with something more efficient later. I would prefer to figure out what was efficient methods, well, now. First thing to do, use the map creation tool. We can make a custom map. And what we want to do is test how much water you need to make land fertile, what works on heights, and... one second. So with a little bit of brush building, we're making ourselves trenches. 1, 2, 3, and 4 tiles wide. My understanding is 3 tiles wide trenches are as wide as you need to make it to maximize fertilization. But we'll find out. There does not appear to be a way to brush in water, so instead we're going to use a water source. Then if we hit play there... Excellent. Now what we can do is we can measure from this tile outwards to see how many tiles are turning green. And you can see this seems consistent all the way along until we get to 2 layers. Okay, so 2 and 3 tiles seem to go out. Let me check the distances. A little bit of playing around. It's not that bad, but it's about 16 tiles out. That's as far as it goes. That's assuming you've got a 3 tile wide irrigation ditch. That way you can actually just about get 16 tiles of crops from edge to edge. However, if you go down, makes no difference. It seems the deeper down you dig, makes no difference at all. The distance of irrigation remains the same, which kind of makes sense. But as you start to go up, so if you raise land above the water, you start losing that irrigation bonus. Exact figures I'm not too sure on, but we can have a quick glance at the wiki to make sure we're not messing things up. Yeah, and you seem to irrigate less than us. This is about 6 tiles out. This is about 12 tiles out with 2 tiles of water. And this is about 16 tiles out if you get out to 3 tiles wide. So not bad, I think. But then there's evaporation percentage. Like this here only irrigates 6 tiles out. So this one seems almost better because it gets 12 tiles. This one only gets 16 tiles, which is 4 tiles more. And you've got a whole extra batch of land that's evaporating from. You'd probably do some stagnant water tests. Our next little test is putting ourselves down a little water blob in the middle of an area. And you'll notice that one little water blob doesn't really fertilize a lot of land or make it fertile. It's all still dried out. However, over here, if we make a 2x2 tank, it actually goes out for about 5 tiles diagonally and a little bit longer on this straight run. But yeah, no, that's still not great. This one, much more impressive. This one gives us 10 tiles diagonally, meaning it's sort of a circle, 10 tiles around, almost. On the straight out here, it comes out to 16 tiles. So it's 16 tiles on the straight, 10 tiles on the diagonal. It would make it really hard to make square grids with this. You're going to end up with basically circle farming. Like those pictures you see online of those farms from space. Then, for a little bit more fun, I made the tank higher, wider, still the exact same. It's 10 tiles diagonally, 16 tiles on the straight. Now, here's the weird thing. 1 second. We'll do it over here. If we go and have a look through the water, we can see down to the bottom there. If we actually drop the height of that by 1 tile, no, 1 more, here we go. There we go. We drop all of this water down 1 level. Watch what happens. And boom, it shrinks. Now, it's not because it's become more efficient. It seems that the way fertility works is it's based on the height of the water before it spills over. Let me demonstrate maybe. Put that water source in there. That will shoot the water source up a little bit. Delete it. Oh, great, it overflowed. It's because of the overflow, it's gone a bit further. But basically, the water has to be up to the edge of the rim, and then the fertility sort of overflows that. So if the water doesn't make it all the way up to the rim, all of this land outside is considered 1 tile higher. Sort of like over here. So if the water's not up to the rim, right here, what happens is it thinks that the water's 1 tile higher than it is, which is why you end up with a shorter reach on the outside fertility. Which means we should be able to do... Actually, give me a filler. Okay, that's going to push out a bunch of the water, but... Yeah. It still gives us the exact same. So it doesn't matter if the water's touching the ground. The water's height relative to the fertility doesn't matter. So in theory, Actually, we could make... Yeah, give me 1 second to take this sort of to an extreme. What we have here is one solid water tank. Well, no, it's just a little hole at the top. Then all we do is we stick in water. And... yeah, that's enough. Oh, that's plenty. Probably going to overflow. And this should fertilize the entire surrounding area. Well, 10 down the diagonal, 16 on the straight. And of course it overflows a bit because you put in too much water. But yeah, we'll have to wait till that evaporates. But I think, yes, that proves our point. In that case, we just need to get water up high. Question is, can we build layers? I've been advised you can build layers. So, like, you can make sections or make multi-layered buildings. So we could technically have sort of stacked farms. That would be the next thing to try out. Because if we can stack farms, it can make our lives an awful lot easier. This here is our glorious, glorious test map. As you can see, it's very simplistic. This way we can test a few things in the sort of semi-real world conditions. As well as that, though, we can use developer mode. This is, if you press Alt, Shift, and X, it will turn on debug mode and show extra stats. Also allows you to do a few other nice things. The first tool we'd like to play around with is terrain blocks. I think if we control and left click, or is it control and right click? Control and click, yes, it unlocks things. We can just basically pay the tech cost instantly. And then we can queue up buildings, though I would prefer if we could build them instantly. I believe it's control build. Ah, there we go. That way we can instantly build stuff. Now, can we build to the edge of that? Oh my god, we can. So we could just sort of go like this. Oh, eh. Let's build ourselves a sky-high water tank. How far out will this allow us to go? It would appear dirt has a structural integrity limit of how far it can go out, so you can't just build a sky platform forever. Well, if we go under it, can we give it extra supports? Would that make a difference? Okay, little test. We've basically stuck some water high up on a platform, and oh my god, look at that. That is a lot of fertilization going on right there. And you get to use the middle source that you can use. And the big question, though, is what if we just build another layer, say, go up 3 tiles, 4 tiles? 4 tiles? And unpause that again. And it does fertilize it. Okay. Wait, we need to somehow take advantage of that to make multi-layer farms. Put on my design hat for a minute. This is the farmhouse, which we would be using in here. Actually, we'd also probably be using the woodcutters. So we need a forester as well. So you need to be unlocked. Forester cannot fit under that tile. Oh, yeah, we need to leave some extra height for foresters. But farming could get away with a 2-tile high before you put on the next layer. We'd also have to make sure crops can grow in. Okay, there's lots of stuff we need to test. But, let's see, lumber mill, lumberjack flag. Okay, so lumberjacks are just fine. Foresters would be a bit of an issue. We need to, I'd like a one and all design that we could just use. Actually, no, one design for farms, one design for trees. And then we could stack things to make things, just compactify things down. Getting the water up to the top, I have an idea for that, though it depends on... We might be able to force water up there, as in use these as water towers, and either pump water up there or force water up there. How would we force the water up there is the question. Oh, and one last thing I need to check. Can you build terrain blocks on top of these? Yes, you can. So if we can build a terrain block on top of platforms and raised frames, that simplifies things. Okay. Problems, though. You can't put farmland under these yokes, the frames. You can put farmland under overhangs, just not under the bit that seats them. So we could use those to extend the area out. We need to figure out a way to maximize the farm space and make something like 4 or 5 levels tall that just produces a butt ton of food in a really small footprint, or a butt ton of wood, same thing. Yeah, a bit more experimentation, I think. So I've been doing some testing here, just trying to figure out how to make at least a 2-layer farm. Which reminds me, I should probably do a test to make sure stuff can still grow indoors. That might be an idea. Actually, some of you might be the perfect samples. We can just wall these in and see, even if they're encased in dirt, they should still grow. I don't think they've simulated sunlight growth, so... Yeah, probably... damn it, I'm going to have to delete some of these, aren't I, somehow? There's a tool for that. There. Encased in dirt. Now, the only way to see inside would be to There we go. Dies in 9. Oh, they're encased in dirt, are they? Drying out. Oh, right. So they need some access to this water. In that case, we can just blow up the edges here and replace that with dams. Okay, so long as we don't actually encase it entirely in dirt, they're still watered and healthy. Between 30%. Yeah, they're still growing. Yeah, 31, 94, 36. Okay, so even if we encase in the plants, they'll still grow. That's good to know. Could have been awkward. Right. Now all we need to do is figure out how to optimize this so we can make use of the land in vertical farm slices. I think 5 tiles high is a little bit too much. I started to put up 5 tiles high so we could put this forester in anywhere. But I think what we should be able to do is make this 1 tile lower and the forester can just not be touching a pillar. That would probably be the safest bet. The biggest learning experience was this. We can put down triple platforms and double platforms and then just build dirt on top of it, and then the dirt can spread out from there. So we can actually get rid of the dirt pillars. Dirt's harder to obtain than planks and pillars, so we can just make wooden pillars everywhere and then have the water on the top. So all we need is the dirt layer for the farming itself, which makes a lot more sense. Oh, another quick learning experience. It turns out the water doesn't affect the downstairs tiles unless there's some wood or unless there's some dirt underneath it. So we need to have dirt beneath this or it won't work. I wonder if we put dirt beneath 1 tile, will that be enough? Like if we put dirt anywhere, let's just say right here. No, it has to spread out from the central mass point. That is interesting. Minor refit required. I was just trying to see if there was a way to save dirt and use more wood. I think that looks absolutely awesome. I mean, think of it's square, but it's well more of a diamond square. Perfect. Then what we could do is maybe stick on, say, all of the farms and stuff on the side, as in all the buildings could go on the edges here. I mean, we could put them in the center. That would probably be faster, but let me actually put down 1 more layer around, see how much dead space we have, and if we could make this a little bit more trim. Oh, yeah, I should probably go over. This is fairly straightforward. We're just using... probably easier to draw it out. Simplest way to think of it is you have 1 pillar. That's where you think of that as your central column. Then off of that, we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we do up another pillar. But in this case, it's just going to be one of these. And then we stick dirt on top of it. And we stick a little bit more dirt, and then we turn it into a square. Then we put a block on top of that square. And now we have basically the fill-out point. And the reason we put the block on top of the square is it allows you to just go out a little bit further. So having that extra layer, and then these two should just about merge. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to put the block on this one, didn't I? So now that the extra block is in, we can meet them up. And that's pretty much it. And then we just start expanding them out. So we go again. 4 tiles, put down another pillar, 4 tiles this way, another pillar, 4 tiles this way, another pillar. And that's what I'm sort of using to figure out where everything goes. And I should demolish this because it's going to be in the way. It would appear going out another area just it doesn't quite give the same... it just looks nasty. And we end up with this dead space. It's not efficient. However, let's just... We've done this right. Just detonating that dynamite should kill a lot of it. Yeah, perfect. Next up comes how we position these farms and, well, everything to do with it. And they all seem to have roughly the same area. So if we stick this farm on here, you can see that, oh, just at the top, that farm's not getting all the way to the edge. But if we scooch it over a little bit, basically say about there, that should get all of it. And it just seems to be the same with all the wood ones as well. So forester, same location. Yeah, because it runs into the same problem. And then the tapper shack, if we want to make sure, if we say want to harvest maple syrup or pine resin. So, perfect. Now, the problem I was thinking of was, well, how do we get everyone up there? Running stairs up each level, if you want to make this 5 stories tall, that's going to be problematic. So, we're going to have to start getting into zipline stations. Now, my understanding of these is, well, a beaver gets in here, you add a connection, and then boom, they can now zip from here to here. And then what we'll have to do is put another station up on the next floor so that they can zip from there to there. These things can only handle 2 connections. You want the iron teeth if you want there. They have a transit tube system that just everything runs every which way, and it seems to be much better than the zip lines. But it doesn't look like they're having as much fun. Efficiency, I suppose. I would prefer it, but this is what we've got. So first up, though, we need to make this about... give me another 3 stories on this. 3 stories of farming. But that's 1, 2, 3. That's 4 floors that actually get to be farmed. Now let's just brush in some water here using some tools. And boom. Okay, that works. Okay, it's a bit stupid, but at least it gives us a goal. And once this is up and running, that should produce more than enough food and or lumber. We might put together a couple of those. Oh, one of them at least. That's going to cost a lot of steel. I think we'd probably do 2 floors of food, 2 floors of lumber, and that would take care of most of our problems. Ooh, I'd probably have to put in some floor of pine as well. I mean, a little mix. Maybe we make it 5 stories. 5 stories might be better. Though, okay. I want to put in an upgrade later on. I'm just not sure if it will work. Let's just detonate this. And, yeah, there is a hole here. And that hole... Oop. What the hell are you? You know what? That shouldn't be there. More dynamite. Okay. Starting again, if we peel back the layers on this... Oh, I should probably point out, there's a couple of ways to do this. What we could do is grab one of these things. I think it's called a water drop-off. Fluid dump. Yes, this one here. What you can do is you can chuck this on here, and then your little dupes will come along and drop off the water and fill the hole that way. As in, you take it from your water storage and dump it in here, and you can keep this topped up. And that's a quite easy way to do it. But I want to do something more stupid. So what we want to do is we've left a hole in the middle. And it's a little pipe that goes all the... Is that another blockage? How is there another blockage there? I thought I blasted all the holes out of the way. Okay. This time we've actually got it. It goes all the way to the bottom. So if we start peeling back the layers and keep going down... Oh, there we go. You'll see there's this tunnel that's been dredged. And my idea, I don't know if it's any good, but let's give it a go. Go a little bit further. Give me some of that tunneling dynamite. Perfect. Then we got to come up a level. Okay. So, we technically have a tunnel that goes all the way back to that system. So if we just drill down a little bit, you can see... There it is. That tunnel leads all the way over there. So what I want to do is build a water tower on top of this hole and make the water tower as tall as this, so that if we put water into this water tower, it'll fill up this farm section. What we can do is put underground piping everywhere and just use that to dump water wherever we want it and have it pressurized up to a certain level. In theory, I have no idea how well this will work, but let's find out. Well, this is a very simplistic version of what we're trying to achieve, and might as well just give it a test. So we'll just brush in some water. And that water is not going very far. You can kind of see where it's going down into the tunnel below. And finally, it's actually going across. The question is, will it ever push up the tunnel on the other side? Let's see what happens. Nope. We pushed too far. We put in too much water. It's not coming all the way out to the edge anymore. Why not? Is it because there's no tile in the middle? Oh, I never thought of that. Since there's no tile of dirt in the middle, it's not counting for pushing that stuff out to the side? I think that's what's going on. 1 second, we'll put in another few tiles of water here. Is that going to force it up anymore? Don't think that water pressure is working out so good. So if we replace that with a dirt tile in the middle, yeah, then it pushes out all the way. So we're better off actually just using a water dump. Who'd have thought? Just, nope. Yeah, water dump is probably a better idea. Damn it, I was hoping to do a whole irrigation system under the ground. I thought that would have been just awesome. If we tunnel down, let's see. Yeah, you can see the water pushed its way up. We would have had to do a whole system and things, but this is why you try these things and see if they work. Well, before you try and do them on a main map, and then after spending 20 hours at it, you realize you can't do it. Might as well test it in debug mode first. But I'm thinking I like the shape and design of this. There's sort of This is actually probably one of the more organic designs I've ever made. It's less square. I mean, okay, technically it's square, but it's a diamond square. Yeah, yeah, I suppose I'm being a pedant about that, aren't I? I do believe we have figured out the farm style we want to go with. So second up, we got to figure out housing and accommodation. We basically want to figure out a way to to crank this up. We want them to have a lot of high average well-being because the higher you get them up, it results in faster movement speeds and all sorts of things. So they'll get bonus to their working speed, bonus to their movement speed, and bonus to their longevity, so they live longer. Not sure how much we care about that one, to be honest. Replacing them. Also, kids grow up faster, so you have less downtime while you're replacing the dead ones. So they live for longer, so you don't have to replace them as much. So, all we have to do now is figure out how we can cram them into some sort of metropolis that has all of the amenities they need that we can just stamp down multiple times. And we're probably going to start with one of these because, well, they seem really good. And then we're going to do something like this to start. Wait a minute. I just realized that's 108 population just in that small space of housing. That is nuts. Okay, now we just gotta squeeze in all the other stuff they want. Looking at this, there's a... Okay, just say there's this decoration. There is a roof, a 1x1 roof. Affects everything within one tile. So if we were, say, to put that there... Does that mean if a beaver is exposed to that by walking through there, does that last them the whole day? Does that mean they're going to be happy for the whole day because of that? Or does it have to be every hour or two they have to come in range of this? Aesthetics. Okay, so aesthetics can be shrub, lantern, roof, scarecrow, beaver statue, and bulletin pole. I want to try and arrange it so that anyone coming in and out of here has to pass all of those and get those for the whole day. Same with the all. The fun might be a little bit trickier, but I basically want everything to be just crammed into a small area as possible. Actually, what if we stack it a little bit taller? The question I'm trying to answer here is to do with the radius on these aesthetic buildings. For example, here's a bulletin pole. This one overlaps with all of the housing we've got, so it's interacting with every single last one of them. Meaning, if any beaver sleeps in those, should they be exposed to it, or does it work at nighttime and does it work in houses? Same with this, the scarecrow, beaver station, even we've got a lantern over here and a shrub. The thing is, the beaver we've got is staying in this shack, and this roof tile is not in range of it. So I want to see if walking past the roof tile is enough. Will that actually trigger the happiness level? No, it will not. So let's see what happens after they do a night's sleep. Okay, shrub, lantern, roof, scarecrow, beaver statue, bulletin pole. It seems to be however long you spend in range of it. Okay, so yes, it does work while they're sleeping, but the roof does not. If we want them to gain the roof benefits, they're going to have a roof in range. So, how would we organize this so that every single beaver gets everything while they're sleeping here? This actually doesn't seem that bad. Oh, if only we could get them one tile closer. Or, oh no, we could put them back to back, but that would actually make this more awkward. 1 second. All right. Done. That means every single beaver who sleeps in any of these houses will gain exposure to every single one of those. Oh, okay, that's nice to know. Let's see, roof should now be going up as well. Okay, so scarecrow and roof are the final ones to go up, but they're still going to end up with a full dose after a good night's sleep. Okay, I get it now. Their needs go down during the day, so this is still giving them +1, but until that bar goes down and expires, they're all happy with it. I was just thinking, maybe we could get a layer on top, so like, we're going to need a stair system to access this. So this needs to be a little bit of a rejig, but this will hold 100 beavers that we can keep reasonably happy for a decent period of time. Looking through their happiness levels here, it's much easier to just look at one of them and figure out what's good. For example, carrots only give +1 happiness max. Sunflower seeds the same. Grilled potatoes are 2, grilled chestnuts 2, spatterdock, bread, cattail crackers all 2, maple pastries are 3, though they're pretty time-consuming and difficult to make. But campfire, rooftop terrace, and contemplation spot are all 1 point, and they take time for them to use them. I would probably concentrate on the ones that give us the most bang for our buck, which would be the Agora and the Dance Hall. Maybe they take longer to use, but I doubt they take 3 times as long. Or we'll have to do some testing, but aesthetics here seems to be the easiest one. You just plonk them down, and then they're done. You forget about it. It takes no time out of their day. As long as they're sleeping near them, you're fine. Same at monuments. There's these giant monuments you can build. Right, a little bit expensive. 400 planks for that one, 200 logs for that one. Fountain of Joy will give us 8 points. Ooh. Requires access to water. That's a huge one. Building needs deeper water to function. Oh, so we have to put it in water, maybe. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so that makes everyone within range happy. We need to make a pool for it. You know what? We might be able to integrate that in. Would be super duper expensive. That's 300 steel. Okay, that's ultra late. Ultra late. We'll worry about that later. After doing a little bit of fiddling around, we've got a dance hall, a agora, a mud pit, and a carousel. These all seem to be high on the terms of... Well, actually, one second. Where's our boyo? Where are you? You are... You know what? Let's give everyone a lot of time off. There you go. 0 working hours in your day, buddy. Go do what you want. And what they want is... Oh, dance hall. Dance hall is starting to go up. Okay, excellent. Then you're straight into the mud pit. Okay. Mud pit immediately gives +3. Oh, yes, you do a little bit in the mud pit, and then they're straight into whatever this is. All right, this is where they talk about wood. Yeah, the agora. More dancing, more mud pit. Why are you not doing this? Oh. Yep, this one requires horsepower. All of them require a little something to keep going. And you. Heading back home, and yes. All of those traits are going up. Nice. Also, Farmer's Monument is kicking in. Which brings your happiness levels to a redonkulous 34. 120% working speed, plus 40% movement speed, plus 60% life expectancy. I kind of do like that. You're on the carousel. Alright, we need to look up what the breakpoints are on this, though. Having a look at the wiki on the well-being, turns out there's like a whole breakpoint system here. So we've got work, growth, move, and life. So work is how fast they work. Grow is how quickly they grow to adults, I believe. Movement is, well, how fast they move. And life is how much extra they live. That's just what I'm assuming. Haven't got into the full details of it. Well, yeah, it's actually right there. Perfect. Okay, then we've got about 37, which means we're about here. 140% plus work, 40% growth and movement speed, and about 60 to 80% on life. Okay, our next big breakpoint then would probably be 40 to 41 to give us more work. I kind of... the movement speed is the big one, I think. I would like to... I'd prefer more to get movement speed up to about 50%. That would be a nice bonus. Yeah, going up all the way, that'd just take so much spare time. I think aiming for 42 to 44 would be a good point to go for. First, no. First, we have to figure out how we're going to cram all of the beavers in here and give them some nice up and downs for getting up and down into this. 1 second. We're just putting a stair system. A full redesign has been completed, and this is what the end product looks like. I think this is what I'm gonna go with. I kind of like that. Okay. What we've done is we've put these stairs all the way up. They're pretty straightforward. It's just... one stairs goes up, then it goes up the other side, and it's hard to see, but you kind of get the gist. Up one side, down the other. And then when you get to the top, we've actually got it, and we've put an extra layer on the top here to cover in between the gap between the buildings. And this has given us extra space to chuck down the decorations much more compactly. For example, this shrub right here, this shrub is hitting all 4 of these houses and all the ones beneath it. So this is like, it goes to infinite depth, just like water fertility. Same with the lantern, it's hitting all 4 houses. The roof, we couldn't squeeze in. The roof only has 1 tile of radius as well, so we put 1 roof there for those 2 and 1 roof there for these 2 batches of houses. Done. Then we've got a scarecrow. Scarecrow has a 2 tile radius around it, so we're able to hit all the houses with that. This statue has a much larger radius, and this bulletin pole has a much larger radius. At the same time, we stuck in a rooftop terrace. We could afford to put up here. You don't actually have to put them on a rooftop, but since we got the space, why not? That means anytime they spend in here is also going to put them, well, in range of all of these. So they're still going to get zapped. Oof. Did I move the lantern? No, the scarecrow gets them. Yeah, everything gets them bar the bulletin pole. Maybe we should move the bulletin pole over here. 1 second. Much better. Okay, so the bulletin pole will now get them if they're anywhere in range of this. So this thing, the only thing this thing is not in range of is the lamp. So they're going to get dosed with all of this nice stuff. And we don't even have to do anything. Plus, they'll get dosed the moment they go to sleep. So it's not really necessary. We've also put some contemplation spots up here. I'm not really sure if they're any good, but basically they're cheap and they fit in one slot and we can easily chuck a bunch up here. And finally, 2 statues. This statue here is in range of, well, all of the houses and the statue here. So that should dose them all up quite handily. Of course, we still haven't gotten around to food. This little beaver does not have access to carrots, sunflower seeds, grilled potatoes, and grilled chestnuts. That'll put them to 4. That'll give them an extra 6 points, -3 for the maple pastries. So I think they'll be just about right. One thing we're really going to have to get our hands on, though, is the Fountain of Joy and the Earth Recultivator? Those 2 combined will just put this thing way, way over the top. However, this is 100 pop. We're not going to be able to use this immediately because if we try and go up to 100 pop, we'd probably crash out our food supplies. However, massive bonuses this gives. Like 140% construction speed, 40% movement speed is just going to be so good. We're going to try and build this pretty much immediately, but what we'll do is we'll only hook up half the houses. We'll leave these 6 houses on this end disconnected, meaning we'll be able to go up to 54. This will give us a population of 54 if we just hook up these first 2, while still getting them really high morale without us having to do much about it. Then, once we've got that sort of hooked up, we can start work on this farm setup. How I'm going to scaffold it, though, is kind of melting my brain, because we're not going to be building that from the ground up. People have advised me that I can build scaffolds upwards to actually build it from the top down. That would be a lot easier if we could figure out how to get up there. It's just beavers can build infinitely down, but only 2 tiles up. So, for example, if we had a beaver able to get up here, they could just build an entire wall chunk all the way up to them and then build a stairs on top of it and actually build their whole way down. So you can always build down, but building up, you can always build all the way down to the ground, but you can only build 2 tiles above your head. It's just to stop you getting stuck in a position where you can't get down from somewhere. Behold, the dumbest scaffold imaginable. Jesus. The amount of planks it would take to build this in a real game, yeah, that's going to be crippling. But the plan here would be to build a massive scaffold up high. Okay, it's not aligned because this is just an attempt, but the alignment should be over this central area here. So you'd get this section, and finally that section. So you go straight along that line, and that would allow you to build sort of the core center of it, and then from there you could build it out from the top down. Or you could even build a scaffold on top of this out to get the other pillars. So long as you can get as far as the pillars, you're pretty much golden. Also, in the game, I think we'll build this up 1 layer at a time. So we'll start on the bottom layer, put in the farms, do all that stuff, and then we'll build a second layer more as we need it. So we don't have to build this all at once. We just start on the bottom, start using that immediately to get in the food and resources we need, and then we start adding the layers on as we go. At the same time, yeah, sort of the way we're going to do this. We're going to immediately put in, well, 6 of them that are accessible, and the other 6 at the back will be left blocked off, and we'll slowly start adding those in as we need more population. That should be the next episode, because, yeah, sorry about all this designing. It just, if I want to know what I want to do next, I kind of have to know what I am building. So this was just a little bit of testing to figure out what works on water, food, and, well, building. I quite like the idea of these little items helping everyone out. We're also going to have to put in some well-being stations for. We've got a teeth grindstone. Showers and wet fur, I'm not really that, like, it's 1 point. 1 point of happiness. We get the same from, like, that lamp. That lamps give 1 point of happiness as well, and everyone gets it while they're sleeping. They don't need to waste any time. So it's just the 1 point ones I'm not too pressed on, especially ones that require water dependent and have to be put in special areas. This I like because it's nice and central and close, so they'll be hanging around there anyway. Oh, and there's also a Lido, which gives them, that's 1 point as well. That one looks pretty interesting. But again, also requires water, so it would require water access. We'll probably put in a bunch of water instead of this section here, just so that we can put down the Lido and, the Fountain of Joy. Yeah, but that will be a while later. You've got to get past robots first. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. Next up, we'll actually be implementing these in the game, or some variant of them, depending on the resources we have access to. I hope you enjoyed them. Good luck.